On blast.
And we are live.
Yeah, what's up?
This is the Wrap It Up podcast. My name is Sheldon Alexander, and I got a full cast of characters. I just knocked something down behind me, but it's okay. It doesn't matter. Just a hat, which you can't see anyways. So it's all right. We're off and rolling. I got a full squad with me today, and it's fitting because I feel like this game changed with the bench mob, and I got a full crew of the bench mob with me today as well.
Yes.
Hello, everybody.
Hello.
On the far side, now first off, people watching this, you'll notice that we got a full table here today, but this is an extra special table to me because this takes me back to the Centennial days. I got my Centennial squad with me, RTV, which for you kids before the internet was a thing or a real thing, you know, in terms of like the industry, you know?
Yeah.
It was just radio and television.
Radio. Yeah.
Radio and
Back in
television, remember
those
that?
days.
So I went to school with all these folks, and we did radio and TV. So I want you guys to, I'm gonna stun on people for a second here because these people are all doing big things in the industry as well. They're gonna be shy about it, but I'm gonna start on the far side. LT, how you doing, my dude?
I'm good.
What
Knock
are
things
you up
over.
to?
I'm good.
What are you up to now since
Well,
the
yo-
Centennial days are over?
Yo, man,
I'm
I'm
gonna
just-
pretend as if I don't know.
You know, I don't see you every day or every other day. Just doing work in the old newsroom down at the SN.
At the net, that is a thing. I do see you
I
way
bring
too
you,
often.
yeah, bring you your highlights. But you know, if you watch an SN 360, you're seeing stuff I'm working on and all that stuff, and yeah, just hanging out.
Hanging out. Molly Mall's beside me. Molly, I gotta say, this is special. The first female to make an appearance on the Wrap It Up podcast. Hey.
Happy to be the first.
Molly Malls, how you doing?
I'm good.
Keep going.
I've been working in production, mostly commercials and some music videos.
Some music videos by some people we might be familiar with.
Might have heard of this guy. I did a
Can you?
video for
I'll
this
stunt
summer.
for you.
Stunt for me. That would be
His
better.
Drizzy Drake, who usually sits courtside at the games.
Might have seen
Might
him.
have worked on one or two of those music videos recently.
Yes.
I'll stunt for you. Don't worry.
That's
Don't
all
worry.
right. That's perfect.
Don't worry. Mr. Jerome,
What's up?
how you doing, man?
I'm good, man. I'm great. Can't complain.
I know I don't take it this seriously, but there's some other people in our industry that might treat it as the Bloods and Crips because you work for the other network, right?
Crips.
I don't take it that seriously. Hey,
Little too much blue in here, okay?
the colors are blue and red too. I'm just saying.
It's true.
But
I'm not
Yes.
affiliated.
even though you work for the three letter,
I work for the enemy.
we are boys. We are boys.
Yeah, man.
We go
It's
back
all
to
good.
RTV. So this is cool. I'm really excited for this, and I'm excited that the game went exactly how it did as well, because that was a great game.
Yeah.
Yes.
Raptors win.
absolutely.
Raptors win. Raptors
Raptors
win.
win.
To quote a wise man named Chuck Swirsky, 113-102, Raptors win against division rivals, Philadelphia 76ers. Now, for me heading into this game, I was very interested to see how the Sixers would do, because the last time the Raptors waxed the Sixers, there's no Jimmy Butler, and there was no Wilson Chandler, who you might think is not a big deal, but he's another grown-up, which I feel like the Sixers needed. So heading into this game, I was excited to see how things stacked up. I'll start with you, Mr. Jerome.
All right.
What did you make of the Sixers just overall as we watch this game in comparison to what you saw from them last game?
Well, I think obviously Jimmy Butler brings a whole new dimension. You know, he's clutch. He's a guy that they can give the ball to and just go out and make buckets. They didn't have that before. But as I was saying with you earlier, with the trade, they lost a lot of depth on their team. So
Yeah.
obviously their bench is lacking. And I think that's where the Raptors, took them with JV's big game.
JV. I don't know. I mean, here's the thing. You mentioned JV, so we'll go to JV. But
Right.
Kawhi's probably the MVP of the game, but JV is definitely the X factor. I feel like Molly Malls, because it's your guy, JV. You rep JV.
I do rep JV.
I was dissing him in the midway point of this game. I was dissing him, talking about how he needs to dunk the ball, and you told me, "Don't worry, and then he showed out.
He did, and he dunked a few times,
Right?
which I know you were complaining about last game. So,
definitely
which I
was.
unfortunately was stuck listening to as I was working, so I couldn't see anything.
So
but
you didn't get to see the missed layups.
I did. I heard it though. And it still kind of hurt. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah, no, he came out and had a great second half and put up some big numbers in the back end, and that's why I told you to just chill,
You're right.
chill and wait.
LTZ bench mob. How'd the bench mob do today?
Well, I mean, it was,
Led by JV.
Well, it's pure JV. They were the difference in the game, really, right? When you look at it, Philly doesn't have the depth, and just being able to bring out JV and have, what do you have in the end? 26 and 8.
Yeah.
Work.
Like and Fred's was looking a little better today, and that's what you need, right? Like because I was actually while we were talking about Jimmy Butler and all that stuff, like Butler had 38 in that game, and you don't even care because they lost by 9. Like that's what happens when you don't have the depth to complement it.
Here's the thing too, right? A theme that we've always talked about on this podcast has been the production from the Raptors bigs against other all-stars.
Yes.
Against Jokic in the Denver game, Jokic balled. The Raptors bigs not so much. Serge played all right. JV not so much.
Yeah.
Tonight, the production you just mentioned from JV, Embiid was 10 points, 12 rebounds, but he shot 5 of 17. That's not good at all. Then add in the fact that, as you mentioned, JV 26 points in 18 minutes, right? And then Serge still had a solid game with 18 and 8 as well.
Absolutely.
The Raptors bigs outplayed Joel Embiid, and anytime if that's gonna happen, the Sixers have no chance, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I think Nick Nurse has been using the combination of Ibaka and Valanciunas to perfection.
Yeah.
Especially when JV's game is on and he stays out of foul trouble. That combination can go up against any center combination in the East.
Definitely. And to give the viewers a peek behind the scenes, we have a group text. Right? Which is pretty funny. And to be honest, if you guys catch me missing text messages, it's because I have the conversation muted because during the podcast and stuff or during the games I'm setting up, it'd be popping up and dinging too much. So I had to mute it. So every once in a while I come back and that's when I'm like, sorry, I missed a whole thing.
Full disclosure, I have it muted too.
Yeah, I do too.
Fair enough.
I only mute when necessary. Y'all start when the DeMar trade happened in the middle of the night, I had to mute that.
That's true.
But outside, or if I'm in a movie or something, oh my god, so many times I've been in so many movies. Y'all just going off. I'm like, yo man, let me just turn.
I might have muted. No, that wouldn't have been then. That was June.
But the reason I bring it up, the text messages, or sorry, the chat group is because there's a lot of talk in there about one man and one man only, which is Serge Ibaka, and the emergence of Serge Ibaka this year. And the conversations that we've been having have been a lot more positive this year about Serge than they were last year. What do you make of Serge, Molly, this year?
Well, like we said earlier tonight, I'm no longer holding my breath when he takes that shot, especially from the 3-point line.
Yeah.
But yeah, I can feel like we're actually gonna. I'm like, go for it, Serge.
Yeah.
I'm with you this year.
Shoot your shot.
I'm on board. I'm on the Surge train.
Yeah, no, I completely agree. Except I guess I'm a little more. What's the word I'm thinking of? I don't know if it's cynical or just I'm always worried that it's gonna end.
You're waiting for it.
But not in the worst way, but more like he's just. It's almost like I remember in I'll go way back to Rookie of the Year. Remember when he fell again and he lost it and he's just it's over, so he is playing really well. We're loving the ride. I don't mind anything that he's doing. I guess until we lift the Larry O'Brien, I'm like.
Yeah.
So full disclosure, it's game 26.
I know.
And no. I'd probably say game 12 to 15, somewhere in that range.
Yeah.
I was finally like, I can't be mad at Serge. I'm gonna just ride this out. Yeah. And I'm not mad at him when he shoots it.
Yeah.
I'm not mad at him when he misses. And he just continues to play with energy. And again, you mentioned Nick Nurse. Yeah. A lot of credit has to be given to Nick Nurse because he puts both JV and Serge in positions to succeed.
Exactly.
And that's been the key this year, right? And I think the biggest part to this matchup, and this is funny, but while we were watching the game and Embiid picked up that tech, I started ranting and I'm like, nope, let me stop myself. Let me save it for the show. And what I was going to say was the interesting thing that the Sixers try to do is they try to have Embiid play against another team's bench. Right? And then Embiid can go off on backup centers because obviously he goes to work against starters. So obviously, most often than not, he's going to dominate backups, right?
Yeah.
They tried to make a run in the fourth quarter But the Raptors bench mob, led by JV, was there putting in work tonight, and Embiid was so frustrated. Do you think that made sense? Like, it was a frustration tech that he picked up?
Absolutely.
He's expecting to dominate, and he didn't.
Exactly. JV was going to work with him on the offensive end, and he just got frustrated with that call and went off at the time. I thought he should have been ejected. I guess that's bias.
Just a little? Just a little?
Yeah, just a little. But, I mean, absolutely. I thought JV played great defense against him, and it frustrated him, and it affected him, as you could see from his field goal percentage. Line. Exactly. Yeah.
And JV, like, you know, he has those moments where he kind of like rises to challenges, right? Like when, you know, like he has big games against dudes like Embiid, and like I remember like maybe a few years ago it was like there's a big game against like the Spurs when they were, you know, still good and all that stuff, and he had big playoff games and all that. You know what I mean? That's kind of what JV does, but more so now that they don't play together, like him and Serge, like it's no one really has the level of talent to deal with one of them coming off the bench. And so it you know, whether it's him or Serge, someone's getting numbers every night.
Exactly.
Well, and to Jerome's point, it's nice to see a coach using his big men. Like, no disrespect to Casey, who I will always respect, and love, but it's nice to see the big men being used properly and in the fourth quarter and things like that.
I have a big smile on my face because earlier on one of the episodes, I don't remember which one, but I said, no disrespect to, I think it was DeMar probably, and then laughed because then we went on to say, anytime somebody says no disrespect,
it's pure disrespect.
I remember that one. Yeah. Every time.
I'm assuming it was DeMar I was talking about. Chances are.
Probably.
No, I've got all the respect for Casey, but it drove me nuts, as you know, from the group chat. It came up many times.
I'm joking around.
I know.
But as we come about here, as you can tell if you're listening to this, I'm just super giddy and excited that I skipped over a bunch of things, which normally is like saying hi to the people on Twitter.
Oh, hello.
Okay, Twitter, what's up?
Right? We got people that tune in live at Shell Alexander and on Instagram at Shell Alexander. Both places, click, send us your comments and concerns. We'll take your questions and we'll do all that. And the reason why I did remember that I didn't do that yet was because we got a great comment on Twitter from our conversation about the Raptors bigs. And this person says, even Moose gave us great minutes.
Moose.
I was totally thinking that as well.
The Moose was loose.
Yeah, the Moose was loose. Yeah.
So this is such a big part of what a genius Masai Ujiri is. I know it sounds too simple, and I don't mean to sound like I'm just riding Masai hard. No. But at the same time, like, if JV was struggling or Pascal got into foul trouble, and you might think, oh no, this is bad because whatever, now we might be down a big guy, or Serge was playing okay, but that's a tough matchup. Okay, JV came in, JV got 3 quick fouls. Hey, gotta go to Monroe. He came in and gave solid minutes.
He really did.
Yeah. I mean, you know, he gave us one of the plays of the game, went coast to coast for a goaltend.
The sweet play of the game.
It was
which apparently we determined in the second quarter.
Yeah. Hey. You know, as we're giving them extra money right now, it's okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yeah. But that was, I mean, I definitely stopped breathing in that moment. Like, okay, Greg Monroe's going coast to coast. All right.
Well, hold on. He made the steal and then went coast to coast, and I was like, whoa, what is happening here? Right?
He earned it.
The room fell quiet.
It was incredible, but how big is it to get that much production from not 1, not 2, but 3 centers on your team? Yeah. There's definitely not many teams like that can get production.
No. Yeah, it's huge. It's huge. Like, Greg Monroe is, you know, a veteran in this league. He's a professional. You know, he could go through stretches of not playing for a long time, but when he's called upon, he's ready to go. And that just proves, like, it was such a great signing by Masai. Yeah. And, you know, he's not costing us a lot of money, too.
No, not at all.
Yeah, like, when he comes into the game, you're not going to see a drop-off in hustle.
Yeah.
Because that's what he brings.
And it's another big body to throw at Joel Embiid, which is going to be so valuable if you end up matching up with the Sixers in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
You have 3 big guys you can throw at Embiid to, like, get him in foul trouble or just make him have to work. Because, again, I booked it. I booked their strategy of letting Embiid try to cook against the bench. Doesn't work against the Raptors.
No.
Just get him frustrated.
Other than JV, though, I was just happy to see the bench mob win a matchup. Yeah. And that's what the bench mob did, because I think to start the fourth quarter, the game was super close. Bench mob went on something like an 11-0
And a little,
run.
ugly too. Like,
Something like that. But they made a lot of steals. They were getting out and running. We saw some from DeLon.
Old habits.
To be
man,
fair,
old
the Spurs
habits.
are playing right now.
The Spurs are playing.
Exactly. We saw some energy from DeLon and Freddie.
Fred hit a big three.
It showed to me how important the bench mob can be for this team, because that's when the run started for the Raptors to end up not blowing out, but make it a solid win.
Solid
right?
win.
Yeah.
How important is a full bench mob? I know JV played well, but the rest of the guys, DeLon, Freddie, to see them going.
They're massive, right? Like that, and that's the one that's become the hallmark of the team, right? Like that, no one could match them once you start putting in the benches, right? Like when you know your bench could probably beat all the other benches in the league, like that's great, especially when maybe the game, because like the game like this was kind of ugly for the starters at the beginning. It was very grimy. It was very there's a lot of turnovers, lots of missed shots. No one was shooting particularly great early on in this game, and the Raptors were down for a bit, and it's like, but the bench is coming in, and that they got a better bench than who they're playing, so they're not going to be out of this game.
Yeah, and especially you look at the Raptors. I'm bringing up the box score just because we know who's on the Raptors bench, right? But you look at who the Sixers will throw out there. It's Mike Muscala, some dude named Shamit, TJ McConnell, and another dude named Kormaz. Those are the guys coming off their bench.
Yeah,
man.
That can't.
He got the Sam Mitchell scoreline, right? 0, 0, 0, 0. Right? Like that. That's it. Right?
Well, I like to call those guys the who he play for all stars. Right? Dudes, I don't know who they are, but that's definitely a strength that the Raptors have over the Sixers, and they exploited that in this game, I thought.
And over a lot of teams.
For sure.
Which is what, is going to give them longevity, really.
And I know people were kind of worried after the Raptors lost against the Denver Nuggets. And not that they were looking ahead or looking past them, but being a divisional matchup, being a matchup that they knew was the whole ESPN day and all that stuff, the Raptors were definitely more ready for this game, no?
I
think so.
Yeah, I think they were more ready in the bench. But while we're still on the bench, before I forget, because there's a dude on the bench that you mentioned that you might have some words for. And it's a guy who, in case you're unfamiliar with him, you're probably familiar with his work during commercials. His name is CJ Miles.
Yeah.
What's going on with CJ Miles? What do you think's wrong? What's the issue?
He sucks. It's just straight up. He's playing like crap this year. Like,
it's not good.
The group chat, you guys know,
I'm not a big fan of CJ. He's redundant on our team. He just comes in and jack shots. He doesn't do anything else. Like today, he had 2 assists, and that's probably a season high. Normally, he's got 4 fouls. So today, he wasn't that bad. But I mean, I'm just not his fan. I think Nick Nurse gives him too much minutes because he gives him minutes, period. I can't wait for Norm to come back so he can come in and fill that.
I can't wait for Norm to come back.
Exactly.
So
Well, hey, Norm
because at least Norm will do other things,
yes.
right?
Yeah.
Like Norm will hustle. He'll play some good D. He'll attack. He'll hit some open shots. If CJ's not hitting his shots, he's absolutely worthless.
Ding, ding, ding.
Right now, he's worthless. Not hitting
It's
shots.
something I talk about all the time on the show. The fact that why I love this Raptors team so much is because everybody not named CJ Miles. No, they do more than one thing. Right. And it was kind of my beef with DeMar. And I know whenever I go back to DeMar, it's like, why are you hating on DeMar? But if DeMar wasn't scoring, you're not affecting the game in any other way. Whereas you look at Danny Green tonight. Danny Green was 2 of 9 from the floor. That's not a good shooting night. But he still finds a way to get 5 rebounds in the game.
Exactly.
He's still playing solid defense.
Absolutely.
He's still rotating, right? And it's like CJ Miles, it's bad because when his shot's not falling, there was a point where he came across a screen and he dribbled and then ended up taking like a long two. And it's like, what?
For what? Because he hasn't touched the ball in a long time.
It's not a good look.
Yeah, man.
Is the GoDaddy curse real?
It might be.
Yeah.
It is worth concern.
CJ,
But
JV had a slow year.
Did he have a slow year?
Yeah, he
That's what I
did.
didn't
That was
remember.
the year where
Yeah,
they were like,
okay.
oh, we could trade him when he's
did.
doing his miniature things or whatnot.
Itty bitty buzz.
We got a comment here on CJ on Instagram, and it says, to be fair, CJ's just a treat of him shooting threes up for
threat.
space.
I
Oh,
think.
sorry.
Yeah, I think
CJ
that's
is just a threat of him shooting up a lot of creates
Okay.
a lot of space for Van Fleet and others to drive.
But look, there's no threat there if you're not hitting your shots.
It's true.
Okay?
At some
You
point,
got
you
a
gotta hit
gun
your
with
shot.
no bullets in it.
Sooner or later, they're just gonna give up on you. That's the thing,
there's
right?
no
Like
threat
sooner or later,
whatsoever.
they're gonna realize, hey, he's not gonna hit the shot anyways,
Yeah.
and the threat's not worth it. That's what he's supposed to be.
Yeah.
It's true that I mean, like, he was better last year. Like he
was.
Like it's definitely been a very rough start to CJ season. Like so, I hope he gets because he seems like a good team guy. So
Seems like a nice guy.
I'm rooting for him, but it is hard at the moment.
What do we gotta do to get like I don't know, like one of the biggest players we play against all season to do the GoDaddy commercials next year?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
No.
Because
Just
the
like-
curse is real.
get GoDaddy to sponsor like Joel Embiid or something.
Yeah, something like that.
That's funny. Someone else that does agree. Someone on Instagram here says CJ has been horrible this year. GoDaddy curse is real.
It really is.
Another comment here on Twitter. Let's not degrade all of CJ's trade value now.
It's true.
We
I
gotta
was
get
just gonna say
something
that.
for him.
Say that, yo, I mean,
true. It's
We
true.
do have to get something for him, but he's got to play well for us to get something for him. So I'm
So
rooting
we need-
for
so-
him, but
so
I'm
we
just
need
calling a
minutes.
spade a spade. He's playing he's playing horrible.
And we need to do something about that.
The other part that's super interesting to me about CJ is watching Danny Green. Because I keep saying Danny Green is like the wing guy that we've been waiting for to see the Toronto Raptors have, right? A 3-and-D guy, a guy that just is consistent in at least giving you something night in, night out.
he's what
Absolutely.
we always wanted Terrence Ross to be. Like,
Yes,
like
Terrence
we're-
Ross, Damari Carroll.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh my
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah.
Why?
So why?
Why are you getting mad at
killed
Damari
it.
Carroll? What's wrong with Damari? You're
Yo,
that bad at Damari
Yo,
Carroll?
he's the last, hopefully the last in the list of like Raptors signed the big free agent that summer who ended up end
Falls
up
flat.
cashing the check and doing nothing, right? Like it was him Hidu. These were
Ball.
bad days. Got ball, guys.
So something I found super interesting today. So, viewers, if you're not paying attention to what happened online, because we would have saw it online because we don't get ESPN in Canada, but it was a big Raptors day on ESPN in the States. So they had Toronto Raptors players on basically every single ESPN show from morning until nighttime. So Danny Green was on Stephen A. Smith's show, First Take. And there was one quote, and I know we'll get to the Kyle Lowry stuff in a sec because that seemed to ruffle a lot of feathers. But while we're talking about the Raptors wing players, something Danny Green, he was talking about, first off, Kawhi liking the city, and he likes it so far, and he thinks he enjoys it, but don't read too much into that yet because whatever, it's
early.
it's December. But the thing that I found super interesting about Danny Green and watching him and Kawhi play together makes so much sense. He says that ever since they were in San Antonio, but to now, they pride themselves on being the best perimeter defenders night in, night out in the league. And I was like, whoa. Like, I don't know if I've heard someone in this NBA, in this Instagram era of the NBA where you just see dunks and threes and people celebrating. I don't think I've heard someone say that, no. Like, our goal night in, night out is to try to shut down the other team's best perimeter guys. And I was just like, oh my God, I'm a basketball nerd. Because that made me feel something inside,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
Just
Absolutely.
how great is it watching those two guys night in, night out? And what do you think they add to the Raptors? Those two guys coming into this team.
Man, like I'll tell you, when the trade happened,
I'm waiting
and
to hear it. I remember what he was saying.
I did too.
Yeah, obviously,
we run the same
from the
team.
chat.
I wasn't too happy about it, but once I calmed down, I was cool with it. But when it comes to Danny Green, he was a total afterthought. I was thinking
me.
he was just
Not for me either, but he
For me,
was.
like, obviously, I think he's a good player, but
I thought he was on the down slope of his career.
Yeah.
But him coming to the team and what he's brought to the table so far, it's been huge. Him and Kawhi have like great chemistry,
Yeah.
defensively and offensively. They seem to know where each other is going to be on the court all the time. So I think it's just a huge picking up Danny Green.
And you know what it is, too? It's like, it's not like we watch 82 San Antonio Spurs games.
No.
Right?
Right.
So you might catch a game here or there, see him knock down the odd
Exactly.
three. But I know what you're saying. Watching him night in, night out, and seeing all the little plays that he makes.
Exactly, yeah.
Like, he comes up with big rebounds. he'll always, I feel like once a game, he'll sneak in there and get like an offensive rebound or tip it back in. Like it's just those little things that you're like, damn.
And you appreciate that, And even if he goes 1 for 4 on the night or 1 for 5, whatever, at least he's doing all that other stuff.
Yeah.
The defensive comment is interesting too, because I think last year we finally started to see this team put more effort into their defense, and we saw some, certainly early in the season especially, we saw some really like positive stuff coming out of that, and it almost feels like having them come in has really locked that in tighter, and the whole team is playing better defense this year, and it's, I mean, we're leading the league.
I also think too, just those two guys, like as I said, my theme I always say is grown-ups, right? And they don't panic. They're not going to panic in any situation. Oh, we're down 20, doesn't matter. Yeah. Oh, we're in Boston, this is a crazy situation, doesn't matter. Like they've been through all of those things. Yeah. And like what game was it? I know the Raptors lost. What game was it though? And they had like, it was basically Danny Green and Kawhi had like maybe 2 possessions in a row where they just kept passing it cross court to each other at the end of regulation. It was a recent game. But anyways, the point is they obviously have chemistry where I'm driving, I know where Danny Green's going.
That's what I see
that
too.
Type of thing. And it's cool to see, and it's going to take a while for the rest of the team to all get that together. And I say that, and the Raptors are now 21-5.
Amazing.
It's true. And I mean, almost to the point of like, it's almost like when they broke up Kyle and DeMar, they brought another Kyle, like another best friends, like, you know what I mean? Because like Danny Green even understands that that Kawhi isn't the guy to really like talk to media, and he's willing to talk to him. He's like, cool, I'll handle it. Like, don't worry about it, right? Like, so he's willing to do the extra interviews and you know, say things on his behalf and all stuff.
Those are the Kawhi quotes I take the most to heart. The ones that come from Danny
Green,
for sure. True.
But what you're saying about the other stuff that even though he doesn't have a big night, like he was still, I was just looking down, he was still a +5 tonight. Yeah. Actually, the only Raptor in the plus minus negative was actually Serge, was a -4.
Yeah.
But everybody, but I mean, that's the thing. Like he only had 5 points, 5 rebounds, but still +5, still doing all that work, and you see it on the floor all the time.
Yeah, you always do, and it's such a crazy thing to watch this Raptors team, because every night I'm still surprised, or I'm still like in disbelief, I guess, because it just seems like everything is going so well, and I didn't expect it to be going
so well
so soon. Yeah, and again, I'm about the process more than the wins and losses. So even in a game that they lost, the last game they lost to Denver, I know it's an L. They lost in overtime, but big picture, this is what, the 4th or 5th game in a row where we've just seen Kawhi Leonard look like a top 3 dude in the league.
Yeah.
Right? Like, he can't be stopped on offense. Right?
Yeah. What was it again tonight? 36, 35? 36 and 9. 36 and 9 on
13 of 4, 24 shooting.
There you go.
But again, 9 rebounds. 9 rebounds is a lot of rebounds. And I'm bringing up his last 5 games, I think it is, because I know it's that at least. But Kawhi, his last 4 games, okay? So going back to the Golden State game, which of course we know he's going to get up for that, but he put up 37 and 8, then 34 and 9, 27 and 8, 36 and 9. That's work.
Yeah,
that's a good week, man.
That's gangster work. Like, this guy is so good. And I said to you during the game, you said his numbers from shooting the 3 are nice, but still watching it, I'm like, damn, like I didn't know he could shoot the 3 that well.
Yeah, like I was telling you, I was looking up the numbers earlier, and he's shooting it well this year, but he's actually below his season numbers. So it's just going to get better from here.
It's true.
You know?
Yeah.
Can it get better from here? The answer is yes.
Yeah. It can.
Right? It's so good. We got another comment here from Instagram that says, Kawhi and Danny add the composure that only champions know.
True.
So true.
Real talk.
Yeah, that is real talk.
And again, I want the smoke. I want all the Golden State smoke. I've been saying that, like, I want all the Golden State smoke.
It's a shame Steph missed the game, and it has that kind of like asterisk.
It's a shame that Steph
ducked the game. I know
the I'm firmly on
shots.
Hold on. It's a Thursday night.
He loves it here, though.
It's a Thursday
he goes
night.
off here.
But did you see what Kerr said?
They played on the Saturday, so you're telling me he felt that much better from Friday, Saturday traveling? You could have played that Thursday night. Also, when KD hit that crazy shot, there's a camera angle that shows Durant going back to the bench, and he does a huge jump and bump in the air with Steph. You're that doing that.
Well, I mean, he was going to play on Saturday.
Yeah.
Well,
I saw a quote from Steve Kerr saying that Curry really wants to play, but we're gonna sit him until Saturday.
exactly, because Steve Kerr's ducking the Raptors. He's playing those pop mind games,
Okay.
man. He learned from under Pop.
Okay.
Right? He's playing
Well,
those mind games
well-
in case we run into them later on.
Well, you're saying, did Steph duck him or did Kerr, like, you know, like,
Right.
Well-
if we're going to place blame.
Well,
Yeah.
Webby knows how I feel about Steve Kerr's coaching.
So, okay. So
Yeah.
we'll let Steph off the hook and say that Kerr pulled him back?
I would say
Is
it's
it-
Kerr.
okay.
Steph
Yeah,
loves to
I
play
will
in
say that
Toronto.
I agree with you guys. I
Alright.
think that he would definitely want to play. Getting back to the Sixers for a second, though, where do you think the Sixers are right now in terms of Eastern Conference powers, let's say? Because I think, obviously, Jimmy Butler, on paper, puts them up there. They were, I think, 8-2 with him in the lineup. Someone correct
Yeah.
me in the chat if I'm wrong.
So, and no, I think
But it was something
coming
like that.
coming into tonight, I'm pretty
Coming
sure
into
they're
the night,
yeah,
they were 8-2.
I think so.
But now watching them against the Raptors, who we think are top tier in the East, in the whole league. But how do you rank the Sixers? Where do you think they are? Are they a conference finals team, or are they a tier below that, maybe?
Does it
Yeah.
depend what the matchups land?
You know,
Yeah.
it's
Yeah, I
tough.
think you're right. Definitely right.
Yeah, it's tough to say right now. I think they are what they are right now. I think they're the third best team
Okay.
in the East. But I think, yeah, they definitely could challenge the Bucks, meet the Raptors in the Eastern Conference Finals. But it's just that bench.
Yeah.
Like you
doubt.
saw
They got
what
nothing,
they
yeah.
did tonight. And if their starting lineup isn't putting up huge numbers, they're not going to be successful. And you
Especially
ca-
Ben Simmons. What did Ben Simmons
Right,
do
8,
tonight?
He was
exactly.
a
Yeah,
non
he
factor
had 8 and
tonight.
something, 8 and
I don't even know what Ben
8
Simmons
and
did
8, 10 and
tonight.
11.
If you didn't even notice Ben
He
Simmons,
almost had the
yeah,
low
He almost had a
triple-double.
triple-double.
The low triple-double.
triple-double.
But
But
whack triple double. You couldn't even get to 10 points. Bro, you start and play 34 minutes and you
34
can't
minutes.
get to 10 points.
Yeah,
Rookie
what
of the
I'm
year
saying,
last
like,
year.
That
You-
also reminds, what was the quote? That
You know what
reminds me
you-
of, what was the quote during the game Devlin said, and we all sort of stopped
Okay.
and looked at each other?
that he has never shot a ball
Oh, that's right.
beyond
I wrote
21
it down,
feet.
Yeah.
I wrote
Yeah.
it down, yeah.
Yeah.
That's
Quote,
crazy.
Ben Simmons has never attempted a shot from outside 21 feet in his entire NBA career. What?
That's crazy.
That is crazy.
Like,
End of quarter,
Not even
something.
an attempt? Come on, yeah.
That's trash.
Not even, a half court,
Yeah.
like, jack up?
that's what I'm
Don't want to
saying.
ruin the percentages.
You know? Well, he was 4 of 6, so that is a decent percentage.
Sure, when all your shots come in the paint.
from the
And
paint.
8 points.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Right?
exactly.
Like this is a guards league. I think they gotta like.
And I mean, we saw that too
Yeah.
in the playoffs where he was basically eliminated because the Celtics, well, any
Yeah.
team with a good coach is going to figure out how to guard
You just play off them.
Yeah.
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 And you know if they play the Bucks, they have great defenders in the Bucks. They're just gonna play off them.
How would you guys rank the Eastern Conference right now? The Raptors are first. Who are the next? How do you see the next couple teams ranking? Because I think as of now, for me, I go Raptors, Bucks. I think eventually the Celtics will figure it out. But I think they'll get to 4, so I'll put Philly ahead of them right now, and Boston at 4.
I think
Is
I'd
it-
say
it-
the same.
I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Agreed.
it sounds right. I mean, and the thing is, even when Boston figures it out, like when you're playing from behind and all, it's an energy sapper, right? Like they're gonna get to the spring, and even if they got it all together, like, and you know who knows if Kyrie will be healthy and all that type of stuff. You got such a bad start that who knows if they'll have it come later in the season.
Yeah.
The other thing too is this year is a lot different in many instances in the Eastern Conference, but one of the biggest is because LeBron's not there and all these teams are kind of close. Home court's going to matter so much, right?
Oh,
Like,
yeah.
regardless of if you're the Raptors and regardless of who you're playing of those 3 teams, you want Game 7 on your home court. So it's going to matter. And to your point, it's not like any of these teams can afford to be resting down the stretch because you want to secure home court advantage, right? That'll be a big thing.
It's true, and it's as early as it is in the season. It's still nice to know that the Raptors have home court for all of it
Yeah.
at the moment. Like,
At the moment.
At the
like,
moment.
at the moment, the Raptors are having home court in the finals. Like, just saying,
Yeah.
just saying.
Yeah.
At the moment.
There's a lot of knocking on this window.
I know.
It really is.
I know.
It's really early.
I'm just saying. I just like you know what? I just like to say it. I like to knock on wood. And I like to say it because it feels good. It feels real good.
It does feel
I'm
good.
not mad at you.
And we're in the good season. You know, like it's December, it's Christmas. It's time for good feelings.
Still no Christmas game though.
Still no Christmas game. But funny you bring that up because I think Masai Ujiri is trying to get us to that point. And part of what went on with ESPN today, this ESPN All Access Day, in conjunction with this Giants of Africa, but having all these ESPN people and all this spotlight being on the Raptors today, might lead to the Christmas Day game. Maybe the biggest thing to come out of this was Kyle Lowry did an interview today with Rachel Nichols. And I'll be honest, there's probably some media people in Toronto that are salty about Kyle actually doing an interview with Rachel Nichols because he's pretty salty with the media in Toronto. Right?
Fair?
I mean,
kind of. I don't know. It comes with the job, though.
It does.
Do you guys care, as Raptors fans, do you care about how Kyle Lowry deals with the media?
Yes and no.
Yes and no.
Explain.
Yeah.
Well, like it's one of those like grand scheme. It doesn't really matter, right? At the same time, I'm one of those people that like expects people to be respectful and to a certain degree just realize at the end of the day, because all these people are here and care is why you're able to do what you do, get paid what you get paid and all that stuff. If none of these people showed up, your paycheck would be a lot smaller. So at the end of the day, you should respect that and give them the time and energy. And it does suck that when you play bad, they kind of kick you when you're down. Yeah. But if you don't like that, don't play bad.
Yeah,
so
that was old David Price, right? If you don't like it, play better.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Like
Pitch better, I think that's what it was.
Probably.
Yeah.
But at the end of the day, like big picture, does it really like do I really worry about it? No. At the same time, when you're not playing well, like he kind of did tonight. And I'm like, yo, Kyle, do your job, like you said. So I think that's.
He did take 2 big charges from Embiid.
He did. And that's the thing. He does do the small things, and
that's all
you're
you
always gonna get something from Kyle, and he's always gonna try. I'm just saying that if you're gonna be salty outward like to everybody else, I'm gonna be a little salty to you when you don't play well. Like that. That's the I'm rooting for you because you're on my team right now.
Same,
right?
That's
no,
fair. I sometimes find too though some of these questions you're just like, really? Did you really just ask that question? Like I kind of feel for him and other athletes who are like next question. Like stop.
I'm 1,000% gonna tiptoe around this conversation because of political connects. I'll
Yes.
say, but the whole Kyle Lowry when he comes out and says, "Don't ask me no dumbass questions," and then you proceed to ask dumbass questions. Cool. I get why you ask it once. What I don't understand is the re-ask over and over and over. Like, he just told you he's not going to answer the question about... He knows that you want him to say, the Golden State game's the biggest game of the year. Yeah. He knows you want him to say that. He told you he's not going to say that. So why keep asking it? In that instance, I understand why he's salty. And I get it. I get it. Does he have to do it that way? Could he be more polite about it?
Yes.
Yes, of course he could. But again, why go back at him for it? Like, get Danny Green to give you the clip that you need. Get Serge to get you the clip that you need. He told you he's not going to tell you that. So why do it? Like, that's the part I didn't understand about that. Yeah. And also, to your point, yo, man, I don't care what Kyle Lowry says to the media. Keep taking those charges.
It's true.
Keep throwing those long assists to Pascal.
Yeah, that was a nice pass today.
Keep doing all that. I don't care. You cannot talk to the media. Kawhi, I still don't know anything or much of what Kawhi said this season. I don't care. He's getting busy.
Yeah.
Yeah,
exactly.
no, that is true. Like 100%, it's not going to keep me up at night. At the same time, the moments when you actually see it, you're just like, man, whatever, guy. Just go out and play it and leave me alone.
We're gonna stick to this. We're definitely gonna stick to this topic. I just want to get in some comments here from Instagram. I'd be okay with Kyle's on and off performances if he wasn't talking all the rah-rah about Masai. Did he forget his best years was under Masai? Perfect segue because and our guy C Brown also says just answer effing questions.
It's true. It's true.
You get,
I mean, you are getting paid to
you
do
get
that.
paid millions.
Healthily,
like I said, man, like at the end of the day, if these people weren't here to ask you that, I never get that from KD's on that tip right now and stuff. Like, you understand? Like, if these people weren't here, you don't get the millions. Like, it's as simple as that. Like that's why dudes like at the. I'm trying to just call it random sport or team, what a CFL, curling. That's why they don't get millions because people don't care. And they're not, and they're media and all stuff. So like when the fact that people are asking you those questions is why you're getting paid.
Yeah. It's a bit of a catch-22 though, too. Like if you look at someone like a Justin Bieber, taking it totally off topic here.
Okay.
But no,
I'm with you.
He's on the Leafs wave. I'm not mad at
Canadian.
Canadian.
you know, who's inundated with like paparazzi all the time and stuff, and has had to take those same sort of stances with the media before. Like, it's true. This is the hand that feeds you. You don't want to bite it, but at the end of all of this, there's still a human sitting there who, you know, I mean, we all have our days.
I will say being hounded by TMZ at the airport and. A press
and your press conference after the game, for sure, it's different. But I just mean, I think that there's still humans behind this who, you know, probably just get tired of it. And in particular with the Masai questions, I'm sure he's just kind of over it because he's in an awkward position, right? Yeah. Like he's not going to knock his best friend, and you know, and he's trying to stay neutral about his team. He's obviously, we all know he wasn't happy about what happened. So I don't know. I didn't love the answer. I thought like, let's move on, but also like, why is he still being asked the question?
So I'm gonna get to that in a second. But in the
ESPN.
chat here, C Brown's on Instagram, and as I explained to the people on Instagram, when you want to see something other than my ugly face, you go to Twitter and you get the full feed, and you can see all the other beautiful faces that are joining me. And C Brown says simply, "Is that my boy LT?"
Yeah.
Because he can't see.
Steve, I'm here. I was with Steve all week. You know, for those that don't know, Steve does good work for the openings of our shows. So
he's a wizard
me and
behind
Steve
the
did a lot of
openings.
work last weekend. Yeah, no, I'm here, man. That's why I'm not next to you right now.
But sticking with this Kyle Lowry and Masai story, so the big story to come out of that, basically, Kyle Lowry said, quote, they asked about his relationship with Masai Ujiri, and Kyle Lowry said, he's the president of basketball operations, and that's it. He does his job, I do my job.
This guy.
Now, here's my thing. Here's the one thing I'll say, okay? Last week when Kyle said, don't ask me no dumbass questions, and people are like, just answer the question, right? That was the answer. Just answer the question. Just answer the question. Now, he gets asked a question about Masai, he answers the question, and people are still mad. So what? You want him to answer the question, but only if you agree with his answers? You can't have it both ways.
Well, He's being honest. Yeah, true, but at the same time, I mean, at least Rachel said like you know fully well the kind of answer you just gave.
But he's being honest. He's mad that Masai traded his boy.
And it's like he's being honest within the confines of just trying to like end the conversation.
He's letting it be.
He's not trying to open it up for follow-up questions, basically, which I can kind of respect.
Yeah, he's letting it be known that like, hey, I'm not okay with that, but also he knows this is on ESPN and DeMar's gonna see it. His boys are gonna see it, and he knows like, yeah, don't worry, DeMar. I know I'm balling right now. Don't worry, I mess with these guys, but I still got your back. You're still my dude. You know?
Which has got to be tough.
I think what bothers me because it's not like it wasn't to his benefit. You know what I mean? True. It's one of those like we understand why you're mad when it first happened and all that stuff, but like you're gonna benefit from this, and like you know if all things go well and you know they're in a conference final or even the NBA final or you know. Yeah. Having blessings or lifting a trophy. I'm just saying. Like, can you imagine this man is lifting the trophy at the end of the year and he's like, "Yo, Masai is just the president of like."
No, he'll be like, "Yo, shout out to DeMar." We'll shout out DeMar.
You want to kick the man in his face? What are you talking about?
Yeah.
I thought you were gonna jump in.
Oh, go ahead.
No,
sorry.
Okay, no. I mean, I totally agree with you. I just think that it's like. You know, we want athletes to be honest, and we don't want it to be hockey where they just say pucks in deep and all that jazz every single night. So when the man actually, we were mad that he didn't say anything, and then he does say something, and now we don't like what he said. So it's like,
I guess it's being coy and being a bit of a smart ass still being honest. Like, you know what I mean? Like,
but I think like what if that's really how he feels? Like he's actually mad,
right?
That Masai, like, and Masai's, hey. There was a trust that I felt was broken, whether right or wrong. That's how he feels. Fair enough. And so, hey, Masai is my boss, and I'm just here to do my job.
And had he answered it like that, there would have been follow-up questions. Well, why was the trust broken?
Yeah.
What made you feel that specifically? Yeah. You know, and this way he just is
as
like, here's my answer. Let's move on.
Also, too, though, the funny thing is, while everybody in Raptors land, fans and media freaked out about it. Masai was on the jump later on, and they asked Masai about it, and Masai laughs because Masai's a gangster. Masai's like, "Oh, that's Kyle being Kyle. You know, that's just Kyle. You know, I swear every year Kyle doesn't like me, right?" And
it's true.
That's so like Masai's laughing it off because he gets Kyle.
Yeah.
Why can't we all have that same like? That's just Kyle, right? And like the comments I read just now, where the guy said that Masai or Kyle's had his best years under Masai. If we really dig deep and remember back to a lot of these things throughout the Kyle and Dwayne Casey, like we forget this now, but there was a point where Kyle signed, I want to say the first time, but Masai told the story about how he sat down with Kyle and Wayne Embry, OG Wayne Embry, also sat down with Kyle, and they explained to him, listen, man, like the point that you're at in your career right now, you've bounced around a few places. You can be that perennial all-star and sign a big-time contract. Like, that's on you, right? Like, if you just buy in and you do all this. So, like, there's always been the open dialogue of Masai just telling him how it is and telling him. So, it's true. He has had his best years under Masai. So, it's got to be also a conflicting place for Kyle, right? If DeMar's really your boy and now DeMar's gone and now everyone's all happy and talking whatever and you just miss your boy, like that's tough. That's a tough spot.
He's just trying to play, you know, even fair game. He doesn't want to upset his friend. Yeah, exactly.
Like he can't become best friends with Kawhi.
No. That's Danny Green.
Yeah.
right.
The picture of they haven't replaced DeMar, like no one's taken DeMar's locker yet.
Yeah, no, Drake did.
Drake did.
Okay.
So
you jumped the gun?
You haven't seen
Sorry.
No.
There's a picture.
Gave it away.
Right?
No. Yeah, there's a picture of like DeMar's empty stall, and I guess no one's taken it yet. But they just put up the name tag that says that boy.
The boy.
The boy.
Or the boy.
The
So
boy.
it's supposed to be
Drake.
Drake, which I guess. But I also just thought that they could have been referencing DeMar as well.
Yeah.
I took it as that. I didn't necessarily take it as Drake, but everyone kind of ran with that, so I don't know. I guess that's a thing.
I guess I'm stuck running with what people run with. I don't know.
So you
Clean
want
that
someone else
locker
to
out.
take them?
Yeah.
Oh, I'm surprised you.
What
of all
a
people
flip
have-
from the
What are we
summer.
Because it's a locker. Because
It's a locker.
I agree. With you.
He didn't die.
Hold on.
Like it's true.
It's not Michael Jordan's locker. It's not LeBron's or Kobe's
I
locker.
agree with you. I would have given that shit to Kawhi. I'm not mad.
Right?
Actually,
We gave everything else to Kawhi.
Didn't the Cavs make LeBron's locker like a towel rack now?
They did some joke. Yeah, they did some,
Yeah, it's probably
they
a
did some joke where, or they gave it to like Channing Frye or some shit.
No,
No,
but I think they just like they legit renovated and just like then they just like
I don't know.
change
I
it
don't
and
even
so
remember.
it's not a locker anymore. They made it something else. So it's like it's just gone.
You definitely could be right. I'm not
I
even
don't.
sure.
I thought I saw that. I could.
Yeah, just let
I'm
the
gonna
locker
read
go.
some more comments here from Twitter. Why is Lowry so mad? It's like he's getting mad someone traded your Kia for a Lambo.
right.
True. Very,
Solid reference.
very good reference.
Who's that? I'm gonna read your name, J.R. Ryder. That's a
shout out
solid
to
comment.
J.R.
I
Ryder.
like that.
Yo, don't be mad at Kia, yo,
That's
man.
so good.
I got people.
Going flipping to Instagram, Kyle will get over it, but he is still entitled to go through the process in his own time. We have no right to dictate or force that.
He has
That's
till
fair.
Christmas. If I hear it in January, I swear to God, he has the rest of the year. That's it. That is it.
I love that we have no point to dictate it. And LT's
Yeah.
like, Christmas.
December 25th.
Him and DeMar can hang out, watch the Christmas Day games together.
Because they're both not playing. Actually, are the Spurs playing? No, they're not playing.
No, they're not playing. The
Oh, there
Spurs
you
are
go.
not
See,
playing.
there you go.
That's amazing. That's so good. Here's another question from Instagram to the panel. Or I guess we'll start with Jerome.
All right.
What are the chances that the Raps go for 70 wins?
Ooh.
70 wins?
Hey, I'm just asking the question.
So many wins.
0.1%.
I agree.
Because it's like those, disinfectant 99.9. You can't say 100% everything. But
Yeah, it's not
Yeah.
happening.
No, I
70
agree with
wins. How many teams in the NBA have done that?
Two?
Yeah.
Yeah,
I think they have a
Raptors
good
are
chance
good,
of
but
getting their 60 this year, though.
Yeah,
To be
no.
honest,
yeah.
as
60 is
however
more
many
likely.
wins it takes to get to first place,
Right.
Yeah.
cool, whatever that number is. Let's go
Exactly.
for that.
However many wins it takes to
But
get to the final.
exactly. How many wins
Yeah.
are the Raptors going to get in the playoffs? Is the question.
Yeah.
That's true. I hope it's 16, yo.
Another question says here, are y'all impressed with Kawhi now? I'm sorry. If y'all are impressed with Kawhi now, wait till you see him in the playoffs. Playoff Kawhi is crazy.
Can't wait.
Okay. Where did that
I'm
come?
here for all of
Is that from Texas? I hope so. Like
The Spurs
I
fan?
can't
I'm
wait.
hyped. I'm hyped.
Also, this person's handle is pardon my swag.
Okay.
You know what? You sir are pardoned. I appreciate your swag. I am here for that kind of swag.
So
100%.
while we were watching the game, someone asked, "Do we think Kawhi's at 100% yet, or where do we think he's at?" I don't think he's at 100% yet,
No.
but he's almost there because I feel like I'm seeing the flashes of like that Golden State game. He came out ready,
Yeah.
right? Like you see the spurts now, and it lasts more than it did earlier in the year. What I mean by that is the Raps are struggling, and he's blatantly taking the team on his back
Yeah.
and going coast to coast,
Yeah.
throwing down dunks, splashing. Like he's doing a little bit of everything.
And you mentioned his stat line for the last 4 games too. Like it's getting consistently in the 30-point range or more.
Dare I say MVP numbers? I know he was Player of the Week, right?
Yes.
month, wasn't it?
Month.
Oh.
The week.
was it week?
The
Was it
week.
week?
No, who was
Nurse
week?
was
Nurse.
coach
Coach
of
of the month. Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Fair
Back to back too.
I'm excited for Kawhi, but where do you think he's at now?
I think he's close to 100%. The games that he's playing.
Oh,
So obviously he's not playing the back-to-back. So until he starts playing the back-to-backs and 100% in those games, then he's not going to be at 100%. But the games that he's playing right now, the effort that he's giving and the stat line showing, I think he's pretty close to 100%.
I would
so
agree.
I sense something in your voice there. So I'm going to ask a follow-up.
Okay.
And
Does
this
that
is why
mean
you
that
just
you're-
give hard answers.
Well played, well played. But does that mean you didn't like the fact that Kawhi wasn't playing on the second night of back-to-backs?
No.
Or were you okay with it?
I'm okay with it.
Okay, I was reading too much.
Yeah, no. I'm okay with it. And I'm okay for it for a little while longer.
Okay.
I don't think there should be any rush for the Raptors to play him in back-to-backs. You know, why risk anything? We're in first place right now, so we're not struggling for wins.
Yeah.
There's just no need to play him in the back-to-backs yet. Maybe as we get closer to the playoffs, get his conditioning up.
So
Fine.
next week, if I'm not mistaken, it's a back-to-back Clippers and then Golden State.
That's a tough one.
Done and done.
You don't want him to play in the second night of that back-to-back?
Well, not okay. I think they should be selective in what nights they choose to play.
Yeah.
So play him in the Golden State game,
and
Yeah.
not in
Not
the
the
maybe
Clippers
not in the
game.
Clippers. Although the Clippers are better than Golden State right now, I believe.
But the West is
but-
crazy.
Should we throw also into that the fact that the rumors are Kawhi's destination next year is the Clippers?
And he didn't play against the Clippers already
Lakers,
this
the
year.
The
Was it
Lakers.
the Lakers?
The Lakers,
Oh,
yeah.
okay,
Lakers. Yeah,
It was in LA.
Yeah, that's right. It was the
Yeah.
Lakers. But yeah, it's in LA.
Yeah.
Same state. Yeah, man. I think that's a wise move.
so don't
Shrewd
play him
move.
against the Clippers.
Nah, they don't need to see that. Nothing to see
He's
here.
ours.
Yeah.
Yeah, no. I mean,
What do you guys think?
I think like it's funny 'cause when we're talking about like whether or not he's at 100%. I actually had a moment of like, will he actually get to 100? Like, is it like because I mean the injury is so bad and also like it's when it's like the because I'm looking at it like it's like your phone, right? Like when it gets it's like it doesn't get quite to that fresh battery, that fresh out of the box battery that it's never quite the same. So like we could be waiting for something that will never
Agreed.
fully happen.
Yeah.
At the same time, if he isn't at the max that he's gonna get to, he's probably pretty close. It looks
It's
pretty
kind of
close,
scary, right?
right?
If this isn't 100%.
Minus playoff time, right? Like I guess that's a whole other thing which we're waiting for.
Yeah.
Does anyone even remember what Kawhi at 100% is?
That's what I'm saying.
At this
Like,
point?
when we talk about he's not at 100% yet, well, what are we looking for?
Yeah, what's
what
missing?
more are
What's
we looking
missing?
into? Yeah.
Instead of 30, whatever he got.
Yeah,
40
yeah.
something?
Once he puts up 40 for a week, then we're like, all right, he's back.
What I think we're looking for is for him in a key moment of the game to not accidentally dribble the ball up his foot, right? Which is not meant as a
Yeah.
diss. It's meant
No,
as
I
an
know.
observation
No,
that he's not quite at 100%.
He hasn't been.
Because that was not a
clutch.
Kawhi move to me when he did that, right? So that's kind of like, and I think he'll get there.
I thought in that Denver game late, he had a couple shots where I was like, okay, that looked a bit better, right? And it'll get better. And I also think part of this narrative too is him and Kyle playing together, because right now it just kind of seems like Kyle's just like, here, Kawhi, go,
Yeah.
right? And there's
Yes.
no like play or anything. You know what I mean? And,
Yeah, yeah.
and I think that's a problem that will get sorted out more in terms of them running plays, Kyle knowing where Kawhi wants the ball, or
Right.
him driving and being able to dish to him or whatever.
I'm actually also a little bit surprised that hasn't been more problem. Like going into the season, that would have been one of my main concerns with Kyle remaining a bit salty about the trade, fair or not. And Kawhi not being 100 and their chemistry and seeing how they could gel. And I think it actually sort of speaks a little bit to Kyle's maturity too, because I think when he first came to this team, that's not how that would have gone down.
I'll give him that for sure.
Yeah.
He's definitely been a professional about it.
100%. And they're finding each other well already. So if they start to actually like gel a little more and we get into this season deeper, I feel like it could get
I'm convinced.
pretty magical.
There's going to be people that are just listening. There's going to be people listening to the audio version of this podcast. They're going to be like, yo, man, answer the door. Like, what's going on?
Yeah.
Why is
It's the knock on wood edition. Yeah.
Superstitions.
What was I going to say about Kawhi? Oh, there's a comment here that says Kawhi at 100% is up 20 points on the Golden State Warriors.
Okay.
Damn Zaza. Zaza. I'll never forgive Zaza for that.
No.
I didn't have rooting interest in that, really. Like, I'm not a Spurs fan. I do despise Golden State.
That was your rooting interest.
You got me. That's true. That's so true.
Yeah.
That's so true. That's just a blatant lie.
Sorry, call you out on your own podcast.
No, fully. That's the point of this. Call me out on my shit for sure. But I was gonna say I was so cheesed because it was like, yo, Zaza blatantly did that on purpose.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Oh man. But it's true though. Like Kawhi's a problem, and it's amazing to watch that person on a team that you root for, even if it is just for 1 year.
Yeah.
Right? Like I'm totally cool to ride the wave for 1 year, see where it goes, and I don't really care about what happens at the end. We're gonna No, I mean in terms of whether he stays or goes. Like if he leaves, I've said this from the beginning. If he leaves at this point, and especially now the way that the season's going, if he leaves, that's on him.
True.
As the Raptors, you did everything you can. You you have a great team that's surrounding him. Nick Nurse has let him do whatever he wants. Masai's G, he can do whatever he wants.
And
if he leaves, that's on him.
And in the end, we only had DeMar for one more year. So like it's like you only lost one more year of DeMar.
Two more.
Wasn't two including this one?
No, plus this.
This one plus two more.
Yes.
Plus 2 more. Yeah.
Oh, fair enough.
Yeah.
I thought it was the other way.
Not to interrupt because we're gonna keep going, but I think my battery's dead on my iPad, so this Instagram Live is gonna shut down at some point. So Instagram people, tune in to Twitter. Just go over to Twitter or listen to the podcast tomorrow. Either way, thank you, people on Instagram. If this goes down while we're in
that's
the
the
middle
fresh
of a
battery we're
conversation.
talking
You're
about.
even getting a wave goodbye or hello. Not sure.
Or hello. I don't know. But shout out to the people on Instagram for sure. As always, that's at Sheldon Alexander. I stumbled through that because I forgot which one it was.
I forgot your name.
I know, right? Crazy. But this Raptors team has been so much fun. And I know our group chat, basically, this podcast is just putting our group chat
out there for the world.
Yeah. It would have been very similar.
Because there's been pages and pages of documented arguments over Kawhi and DeMar. And, will Kawhi stay? Will he go? How's this team going to work? Nick Nurse, right? How's that going to work out?
Huge.
Overall, though, how happy are you with this season? Just in terms of from what your expectations were to what it is now. Like, how do those two things align?
100% happy. I mean, my expectation was for the Raptors to continue to be as good as they were last year, and maybe come out a little bit rocky because Kawhi is new to the team.
Yeah.
Not only did they not come out rocky, they came out amazing, but they're better than last year by
a lot.
leaps and bounds. And it seems like for the past 4 years, every single year we're saying, this is the best Raps team ever. This is the best Raps team ever. This year is the best Raps team ever.
And
No
the difference too to me is that we've heard, oh no, they could make the conference finals, they could make the NBA finals, whatever. This is the first time, and you guys can back up on this. This is the first time I actually believe that.
Me too.
I didn't believe it for the past however many years. I'm like, they're gonna run into LeBron, and we can't trust Kyle and DeMar in the playoffs. Like, eh.
Yeah.
This is also the first year that I'm like, if we fall behind in a game, I'm not like, oh God, where is this going?
Because they can play defense.
You know,
Yeah.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, no.
And I feel like no, like we can get down like 10 points. I'm like, I'm not worried yet. You know, like I don't love it, but I'm not worried yet. And there's plenty of game left. And yeah, I'm 100% agree.
I was gonna say before when we were talking about the 70, is that they're gonna play smart and they're not gonna go for 70. But at the same time, there's part of me is like they could accidentally do it. Like,
Yeah.
like you know what I mean? Like you know what I mean? Like as in those games, like those games where people are resting because the bench is that good and all that stuff. Next thing you know, like they're still gonna go out and try to they're still gonna play to win, right?
Yeah.
Like the guys who are playing are still gonna play to win. Yeah. And it's like the bench is good enough to steal some games and all that stuff and you know you might just look up at the end of the season, it's like, oh, we have rested Kyle and we have rested Kawhi and all that stuff, and we're sitting at 68 wins and you're just like, oh shit.
You know what's super cool too, and this is because definitely I end up watching every single game intently this year, obviously doing this podcast, but even the garbage games against like the Cavs or against, I would guess...
Say garbage against the Cavs again, please. Just feel so good.
The East goes through the Cavs.
Yeah.
Tristan said so.
Right? Yo, Tristan's been balling, though.
He has been. I
Well,
think
somebody has the ball.
he's trying to back up what he said at the beginning of the season.
Somebody has the ball.
Yo,
He's
this
always
week,
been a
man,
good
yo,
rebounder. Now he's getting like 15,
Getting
20
touches.
shots a game.
But sorry, I almost lost my train of thought just laughing at Tristan. Because now I just think of Six Buzz Brampton Mans.
Oh, man.
Jeez. It's so bad. I don't even know what I was saying there. What was I talking about? We were talking about the,
oh, sorry,
we were talking
my bad.
about
Beating the
Raptors
Cavs?
beating the Cavs.
Beating the Cavs.
Oh, sorry.
The
Even in those garbage games.
The garbage
Yeah.
games.
Even in those garbage games, because there's been so many injuries, because you're still trying to get Kawhi acclimated to the team and Danny Green, even in the garbage games, there's still so many good things to come out of it because the bench hasn't been full as a full unit yet, right? Yeah. So now they get extra run in those garbage games. Kyle sat out against the Cavs, and a big part of that to me was with no Kyle, Kawhi had to look around and be like, "Oh, okay, I gotta get busy tonight because Kyle's not here," and that is just another notch or another beeline towards where this team needs to be come playoff time, because everyone has to get a chance to succeed in their way. Freddie got a start because Kawhi was resting while Freddie was struggling, and he's still kind of struggling, but.
He's working through it.
He's working through it, for sure.
Yeah. And he's still doing other things, right? Oh, Golden State did win. I thought Golden State lost for a second.
No, because of that shot, right? I was like, is that the game winner?
I was like, did Golden State lose? Like, Cavs? What's going on here? But, yeah, it's just been such a great season for the Raps, and it continues. And this win tonight, you know, people were mad, I think, after the Denver loss, and I think this will ease that a little.
I wasn't mad. I mean,
I wasn't mad either. No.
Like, I was granted, I didn't get to see the game. I was out watching Creed 2. I like Creed 2. Just for those, it was a good movie. Yeah, y'all go see it. If you didn't see it yet, Michael B is the truth, and it was actually a really good show. But either way, when I saw that they lost, I wasn't upset about it because at the end of the day, I mean, I guess if we're talking about like 70 wins and all that, that's why they probably won't get 70s. That they're gonna drop a couple games that they should win and all that type of stuff, and that's what happens in a season, right? Like, but at the end of the day, you're. You know, what's the official record now? 21?
21 and 5?
21 and 5, yeah. They're 21
like,
and 5, yeah.
What, why on earth were we mad that they dropped the game to Denver if they're at 20 and 5 when it happened? Like, you know, like that's the way it goes. You're not gonna win.
You're not gonna win every game.
Exactly.
No, exactly. And you lost a game in overtime that you probably didn't deserve to win anyways on like brutal calls,
right?
And a horribly shooting first half, right?
Yeah.
So that's going to happen. One thing I almost forgot that I'm glad someone else in the Twitter comment section brought up. So with this whole Lowry thing and the whole conversation about him not liking Masai and this, that, and the third, and everyone being mad at, you know, or Kyle being mad at Masai for trading DeMar. The part that we forget, and this was brought up by, I'm going to remember this person's name, Arc Chive. Don't know what that's short for. Don't
like
know
archive?
who that person is.
Like
I know,
archive,
I know, but why is that your handle? I don't know. Like, anyways, not the point. But
librarian.
This guy says,
that's
is that even the right comment? Yeah, it is the right comment. Says not a fan of Lowry trying to demonize Masai's character, let's not forget he was trying to go to the Spurs in free agency, but Masai was the only one willing to pay the contract he was looking for. That part is very true. If we go back to that year, remember, there's a big story written up about Kyle Lowry saying the Spurs would be a great organization that he would want to go to, but the Spurs weren't offering up the ducats. So, if I'm Masai Ujiri, right, how can it be okay for you to blatantly be like, I would love to play for the Spurs, but they didn't offer you a contract, but be mad at Masai because Masai was like, yo, we can get Kawhi Leonard.
I mean,
it's a
that's
double-edged
the thing.
sword, right?
It's all true, and I still think that Kyle and DeMar owe Masai one for leaving my dude hanging when he went out there in front of everyone and said F Brooklyn and then lost. Like, you know what I mean? He went out there. He went out there to rep for you guys, and you let him down. I mean, obviously we could go back and they weren't ready in all his first year and blah blah blah. But point being is that Masai is riding for the Toronto Raptors.
He sure is.
But, you know, like and that's his job.
And the city.
And and then I mean obviously that's his job. But like he is 100% in. He's not looking to use it as a stepping stone for the next one, or I mean, at least not that we could see. Like he is 100% in on this team, and if he made some move that he might not like, he's still only doing it for the good of the team. Yeah, like you know, and and so that I guess that's the part that bothers me that Kyle is still kind of like
that's fair.
Is still going on with this. Is that he didn't do it to hurt you. He didn't even do it to hurt DeMar. He did it. He did it for the good. He did it for the good of the team, and it's being proven correct that it's early in the season, but still being proven right now. And so it's like, yo, man, you gotta let that go.
If I'm not mistaken, he also followed up that quote with, "This is a business," which is exactly sort of when my heart was crushed at losing DeMar, as you guys know, and not because I didn't. I always maintained this was a good business decision. It's just hard to see a guy put himself, out there and on the line for a city that no one else would do that for, and then have him, sort of blindsided, ripped out of the city, and and he was putting down roots and stuff, and so like on an emotional level, it was tough, but like from strictly a business point of view, of course you would jump on that trade, and not just because of Kawhi, but because of Danny Green. Like it was a great package, trade.
It was a good trade.
Yeah.
Like at the end of the day, it's a good trade.
Paying off.
Yep.
So.
All right, man.
Yeah, I'm definitely not mad. There's nothing to be mad about.
We're 21-5. I am not mad.
Yeah, it's amazing, and it's crazy to see how this whole thing went down. And your Masai Ujiri, the way that you made this deal, it's just incredible the way that things have played out so far, because the Raptors just look so good so far. I'm gonna knock that time, and they just keep rolling, right? And
I was gonna say, and more so like going into the season, we knew the Bucks have been a bit of a surprise. Like obviously they they got
coach.
When you got the Greek Freak, you obviously got at least a start to something, but they're definitely performing. I guess they weren't in the conversation going into the season and it was always gonna be like it was Toronto, Boston, Philly, and and so far they've beaten Philly twice fairly convincingly. I think it was a blow, and then tonight was a solid 9-point win, right? And then the two games again, they beat up Boston one game and then lost in overtime in Boston, right? So it's like if you're going into the season knowing that these are the two in your way to the NBA Finals and you're 2-1 in an overtime loss, oh man, I'm happy.
Yeah,
I'm okay with that.
100%.
Easily.
Yeah, and Masai, I just think of Masai laughing and saying, "Kyle, we know Kyle's gonna play," because to me that's the part that we miss about Kyle Lowry, right? Kyle Lowry is like an undersized, husky point guard from Philly.
It's true.
For him to get to the NBA, you know the chip on his shoulder that he would have to have to want to prove everybody wrong? Like the jackass that we see or that he is to the media or whatever is the same jackass that like thinks, oh, Joel Embiid's coming, I'm going to take a charge against him, right? Like you need that to be as good and to be as successful as Kyle Lowry is. So you got to take that, and I'm using the J reference, the gift and the curse, right? Like that's what makes him who he is. And hey, as long as he keeps putting in work, I don't care. He can do whatever he wants. Kawhi doesn't have to do any interviews this whole season. he can do whatever he wants, especially if he's dropping buckets
Totally.
like he
Yep.
is.
Especially if he signs.
Do you guys need Kawhi? Do you guys need Kawhi to sign for this to be a success? This
No.
season to be a
No,
success?
no, but
It'd be nice.
I'd prefer.
I do have one friend who says he has to sign. I'm like, yo, if they make the finals or if they make the finals and lose and he doesn't sign, I would do it 10 times over.
I think we need to make the Eastern Conference Finals at minimum.
Okay.
True.
Agreed.
And be competitive, not like get
Yeah,
swept
yeah.
or anything.
Well,
Yeah.
LeBron's not here.
Yeah, we got swept by
LeBron.
Did we get swept by the Wizards? But
Oh. Well, that's
Yeah.
That was a different
no,
team. That was a
yeah,
way
it's
different team,
time.
though.
But anything can happen. But yeah, I think we need to make it to the Eastern Conference Finals we need to see progress. We need to get better than what we've done in the past, and then it's worth it. Absolutely, and definitely if we make the finals, Raptors have never been to the finals
I can't even
before.
imagine what that would be like. Like
Oh man, June will be
And
fire.
with the Leafs doing what they're doing, like springtime could be real hype in Toronto.
That is my
But-
dream. I will tell. I will tell the people my dream. My dream is for those who don't know, I guess it's Memorial Day in the States, roughly around the same time. May 2/4, the third weekend in May is a holiday here. It's Victoria Day, and it's a big get out to the cottage for the first time. It's a big
It's a thing.
welcome to good
Summer.
weather and summer weekend like Memorial Day. And my dream is to have both the Raptors and the Leafs playing in the play. Would they both be around the conference finals around that time? It'll be just a fantastic weekend, And I said it before, the Jays will have Vladdy Jr. up. It'll be good times, and that's my dream. And I hope it comes true.
LT has a dream.
Yeah.
I have a dream.
That one day,
I
the Leafs and the Raptors
it's
will
true.
be in the playoffs.
I was thinking Gladiator. I have a dream that is Rome, and that is my Rome. That's
right.
That's what. But I'll take some King.
However we get there, I'm just happy that each and every night it's like Austin Matthews doing work or Kawhi doing work.
Me too.
And I'm like so giddy.
Yeah. Oh,
It's so much
It's
fun.
a good time to be a Toronto sports fan. Finally.
Hey,
The
man.
wise man once said, "What a time to be alive."
What a true.
Oh man, this has been so much fun, guys. Like this has been amazing. I guess this is the Centennial Pod. Shout out to
Yeah.
Centennial
Yeah.
Pod.
Centennial
RTE, right? This is cool.
Yeah,
It's
yeah,
very
no.
good.
Hey, I
have
mean,
to do it again.
we'll do it again at some point
1000%.
when the stars align
Yeah,
one
we
more
got the
time.
group chat. As I said, just pick out a game and just let me know and I'll plug it in. I mean, I might forget because I'm scatterbrained, but when the game rolls around, I'm here.
You'll pop up in the chat.
Yeah, I'm here.
Yeah, no. It's just someone we'll confirm.
Knock
Yeah,
on
we'll
the door. Right? Exactly. What we normally do here at the end too is if you guys want to give out your social media, people can chirp you and talk to you about what's going on with the Raps if you so choose to talk to the peoples. LT, thank you for coming.
Yeah, no, by all means. If you want to yell at me about how much I was a little upset with Kyle, whatever, or my if you don't like my dream or you think my dream is just that and it's never gonna happen, you can reach me on Twitter at LTZ or LTZ, the letter just LTZ29, and also on Instagram it's the same thing, LTZ29. So hit me up. And that's it. Or if you didn't like Creed 2, then I got words for you, man. I got words for you, but that's okay. That's okay.
I'm on Instagram at Molly Malls, but truthfully, I'm a private account, so I'm not sure that you'll be able to track me there. And I'm on Twitter at Molly Rolfe. It's Molly with an IE, Rolfe, ROLFE. I don't use it very much, but I will totally check you out there if you feel not private on that one.
I'm the same with you, Molly. I have a Twitter account, never tweeted anything. I think I just
usually
set it
retweet
up
Shell.
so that I could read some comment or something like that.
Yeah.
But I got Instagram, JBZ23. It's private too, but if you want to add me,
Well, you
if
have
you're a
to-
Raps fan,
Yeah, I'll
add
check
you
it
up.
out.
Yeah, if you don't mind seeing my baby, then then by all means, you can hang out. He's 5 months, and then you'll see a whole lot of him. But in between there, we'll have some cool sports stuff or something.
This has been so much fun. Like,
Yeah,
honestly, like, we were a squad in our TV. We were so lucky. I think our class was amazing. We had a really good group.
Shout out to that class, 2005.
Yeah, they're all out
All
there.
right, yeah.
We had a great group of people, and we were all like really tight, and we were all friends, and it was all so much fun. So being able to do something like this, I was telling you guys beforehand, like, I was on my way home, and I was thinking, this is exactly why I wanted to do this podcast. Like, in all honest truth, I don't want to do this podcast by myself. It just kind of ends up being that way, but the real intention was to sit with my friends and talk about ball and create the what's going on in our group text into a conversation that other people can join into, and reading the comments and all that. This is literally what I want to do, and it's so much fun to do it with your friends, people that I call my lifelong friends. This has been amazing and like so much fun.
Thank you, Shell, for doing this and for the
you.
podcast every week and every game because I thoroughly enjoy.
For
Stay in the
sure.
office for the youngins.
Sorry.
Yeah, go ahead.
Oh,
No.
yeah. No, I'm just gonna wrap up. I just think this has been so much fun, and I thought you were gonna jump in.
No, he's just saying all right. Listen, I just wanted to shout you out.
Oh,
That he's doing
absolutely.
big
See,
things
if I'd
right
known
now.
that, I would have kept going.
No, this guy's doing big things right now.
He is.
You know,
Listen,
you've always been doing your own thing, and you know, leading your own way, and since college,
Yeah.
And now it's like coming into fruition. We're all very proud of you, what you're doing here. So
Very
just
proud.
keep it
Oh,
up.
for sure. Yeah.
Oh, what do you know? The battery's about to die. Thanks, guys, for joining us.
Thanks for having
This has
us.
been a lot of fun. I really appreciate it. I really do.
Yeah.
Shout out to all the people that were on Instagram at Sheldon Alexander and on Twitter at Shell Alexander, where you can find this Wrap It Up podcast live after each and every Toronto Raptors game, and as well our Ball on Blast podcast, which you hear Friday mornings with my guy Andrew Webster, which is more of a
Webby.
broader conversation in terms of the NBA as a whole. But again, this has been amazing. My guy LT obviously works with me at Sportsnet. That's amazing. Jerome works for the 3-letter, which
You can say it.
I know I could say it. I'm not. There's no shade. There's no shade there.
Just try to make sure no one
Shout
gets in
out
trouble.
CTV.
That'd be old.
I got boys.
Bell
that,
Media.
Oh, man.
He went with the government.
Bell Media. All right.
Yo, I got boys that work there. Shout out to Cab and Dave Cricks. I got boys that
Yes.
work there. People that are my peoples. I got a squad that works there too.
All right.
I got peoples that work there
Yeah,
too.
you got
I
me.
appreciate it. Yes, I appreciate the entire media landscape. And of course, as I said, Molly Mall's doing big work all over
Yes,
the place.
he is.
Mad commercials, mad music videos. This is amazing because, as I said, watching the crew do big things makes me so happy and so amazing, and I'm about positive energy, and we'll continue to put out the positive energy because, as I end every podcast with saying, I used to pray for times like this to rhyme like this. This is the Wrap It Up on Blast Raps post-game show, as always, unpolished and unapologetic. Until next time, hopefully my friends will be along. See ya.
Peace.
Peace.
On blast.